After 5 long years abroad in the Netherlands, Robert finally returned to the warmth of his parents' home in their African city. The bustling streets, the friendly faces, and the smell of freshly cooked jollof rice brought back memories he had long tucked away. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Okoye, welcomed him with open arms, their joy palpable. But underneath their happiness, there was a hint of urgency. "Robert, my son," his father said one evening, "you are of age. It's time to settle down and find a wife." His mother nodded in agreement. "A wife from home, from our city. Someone who understands our culture, our traditions." Robert had always known this day would come. His parents had made their wishes clear long ago, and he had promised to honor their request when the time came. The following Sunday, Robert attended church with his parents, a tradition he hadn't kept while in the Netherlands but now embraced with renewed fervor. The service was lively, filled with singing and dancing, but it was during the sermon that something extraordinary happened. An invited prophet, a man Robert had never seen or heard of, took to the pulpit. "Young man," the prophet said, pointing directly at Robert, "the Lord has revealed something to me about your future. Your wife, her name is Roberta. She will come into your life soon." Robert was taken aback. How could this man, who knew nothing of him, speak with such certainty? His parents exchanged glances, both of them clearly intrigued. Robert, though bewildered, couldn't shake the words from his mind. 3 weeks passed, and Robert couldn't help but think about the prophecy. He had met several women, but none named Roberta. That was until one fateful evening when he attended a local gathering. To his astonishment, he was introduced to not 1, but 6 women. And every single one of them was named Roberta. They were all stunningly beautiful, each possessing the very traits Robert had always admired in a woman. Tall, graceful, intelligent, and with warm smiles that could melt the hardest of hearts. It was as though fate had lined them up for him to choose, but now he faced a dilemma: how could he possibly choose the right one? The first Roberta he met was a lawyer, ambitious and sharp-witted. She carried herself with poise, her confidence evident in every word she spoke. They went out for coffee, discussing everything from politics to their childhood memories. Robert admired her intelligence and drive, but something felt off. Despite their easy conversation, there was no spark, no connection beyond the surface. He couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that perhaps she wasn't the one. The second Roberta was an artist. She had a free spirit, her laughter infectious, and her creativity boundless. Robert enjoyed spending time with her, watching as she painted vibrant scenes of village life. There was an undeniable attraction between them, but again, Robert felt unsure. Her world was so different from his structured life, and though opposites sometimes attract, he wondered if they could truly build a life together. Next came Roberta, the third woman, a teacher with a kind heart and a gentle nature. She spoke softly, with a nurturing tone that reminded Robert of his own mother. She worked at a local school, dedicating her life to educating the next generation. Robert was drawn to her warmth and compassion, and they spent hours discussing their dreams for the future. Yet, once again, Robert found himself doubting. While she was caring and thoughtful, he wondered if there was more he needed in a partner. She was sweet, but was that enough to sustain a lifelong marriage? The fourth Roberta was a businesswoman, successful and driven. She managed a flourishing boutique in the city, and her entrepreneurial spirit fascinated Robert. They talked about life in the Netherlands, and she expressed her desire to expand her business internationally. She was ambitious, just like him, and their conversations flowed effortlessly. But something about her felt transactional, as if her focus was more on material success than on love. While Robert respected her achievements, he longed for a deeper emotional connection that seemed elusive with her. The fifth Roberta worked as a nurse in the local hospital. She was empathetic and devoted to her patients, and Robert admired her selflessness. They shared many quiet moments, walking through the city's parks and talking about life's challenges and triumphs. Though Robert appreciated her caring nature, he couldn't help but feel a gap between them. There was no fire, no passion that made him think this was the woman he was destined to spend his life with. She was lovely, but was she his missing rib? The sixth and final Roberta was a dancer, graceful and full of life. Her energy was contagious, and she brought joy to every room she entered. Robert was captivated by her elegance and charm, and they spent many evenings attending events and performances. Despite the fun and excitement, Robert couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't the one either. Her love for the spotlight and constant need for attention left him wondering if they could ever share a quiet, balanced life together. Robert was now caught in a whirlwind of confusion. How could he have met 6 women, all named Roberta, and still not know which one was meant to be his wife? Each of them had qualities he admired, yet none of them felt like the perfect match the prophecy had promised. In his quiet moments, he prayed for guidance, hoping for a sign that would lead him to the true Roberta. The pressure from his parents and the prophecy weighed heavily on his heart. How could he make such an important decision without knowing for sure? One evening, Robert sat down with his mother, sharing his frustration and confusion. "Mama, how can I choose? They are all wonderful in their own way, but none of them feel right." His mother smiled gently, placing a hand on his shoulder. "My son, love is not always about finding perfection. It's about finding the one who compliments you, who understands you beyond words. Sometimes, the heart sees what the eyes cannot." Her words stayed with him, giving him a sense of peace. Perhaps the answer wasn't in comparing the women, but in listening to his heart. Days later, during a quiet walk through the city, Robert found himself thinking about the third Roberta, the teacher. He remembered her warmth, her gentle spirit, and how easily they had connected on a deeper level. Though their relationship had lacked the excitement he found in others, there was a quiet comfort in her presence that felt different. He reached out to her again, this time with an open heart, free from the pressures of comparison. As they spent more time together, Robert realized that love doesn't always come in the form of grand gestures or overwhelming passion. Sometimes, it's in the small moments of understanding, in the shared silence that speaks louder than words. 2 months after rekindling his relationship with Roberta the teacher, Robert knew she was the one. She wasn't just a wife he would be proud of, but a partner who truly saw him, understood him, and would stand by his side through life's trials. With the consent of his parents, Robert proposed to her, and she accepted with a radiant smile. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration, filled with joy, laughter, and the blessings of family and friends. 2 weeks after the marriage, Robert took his bride back to the Netherlands, where they began their new life together. In the Netherlands, Robert and Roberta settled into their life, filled with new adventures and shared dreams. They built a home filled with love and respect, growing closer with each passing day. But just when Robert thought life couldn't be more perfect, Roberta approached him one evening with a shy smile on her face. As they sat together in their cozy living room, Roberta took Robert's hand, her eyes glimmering with excitement. "Robert," she said softly, "there's something I need to tell you." Robert's heart raced, sensing the importance of her words. "What is it, my love?" Roberta leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "We are going to have a baby." The room seemed to spin as Robert tried to process the news. A baby. His heart swelled with joy, but before he could say anything, Roberta placed a finger on his lips, smiling. "It's still early, but I can feel it," she said. "Our family is growing." And with that, their next chapter began, one filled with the promise of new life and the excitement of an unknown future. Here are some moral lessons drawn from the story of Robert and the 6 Robertas. Patience in decision-making. Robert faces the difficult task of choosing between 6 women, each with appealing qualities. The story emphasizes the importance of taking time to make thoughtful, well-considered decisions, especially when it comes to life-changing matters like marriage. Inner qualities over outer beauty. While all 6 Robertas are physically beautiful, Robert must look beyond appearances to find the woman whose values, personality, and character align with his own. The story teaches that true beauty lies within and that a person's heart is more important than their looks. Trusting divine guidance. The prophecy given to Robert acts as a guide throughout his journey, and by listening to it, he ultimately finds his true partner. The lesson here is to trust in spiritual guidance and wisdom, even when the path seems unclear. Family support. Robert's relationship with his parents is one of love and respect, and they offer him valuable advice and support throughout his search for a wife. This highlights the importance of family in making significant life choices and the value of seeking counsel from loved ones. Being true to oneself. As Robert navigates relationships with 6 different women, he learns to be honest with himself about what he truly wants and needs in a partner. The lesson here is to remain true to your values and desires, even when faced with difficult decisions. The power of emotional connection. Ultimately, Robert realizes that the strongest connection isn't just about physical attraction but emotional depth and compatibility. This teaches that a successful relationship is built on trust, communication, and emotional bonding. Courage to make the right choice. With multiple attractive options, Robert must summon the courage to make a choice, knowing that it may disappoint others. The story teaches that tough decisions are part of life, and making the right choice requires bravery. Faith in timing. Robert's journey emphasizes that love and important life events come at their own pace. Though he faces confusion, his faith in timing leads him to the right person. The moral is that patience and faith can lead to the best outcomes. These lessons offer insights into love, relationships, and the importance of values and inner qualities in making life's most significant decisions.